brain is gone.
No bar, no pinball machines, no bowling alleys, just pool, nothing else. No bar, no pinball machines, no bowling alleys, just pool, nothing else.
Well, good evening, good afternoon to everybody. Silvia's just arrived in the lobby, Larry's already there. We're back in VP4 TV for another live stream of one of the VP4 2022 World Cribbage Championship matches. This is going to be a second round match between Larry from the USA and Silvia from Germany. Race to 15. Couple of things to cover before we go any further. Let me just see if we can bring the bracket up. There's a couple of matches I've missed, namely because they've not been on the schedule. They've obviously just been guys appearing in the lobby and then deciding to play, so I've missed them. The one match I missed earlier, or a day or two ago, was the match between Tommy from Germany and Potman, and Tommy looks to have comfortably won that by 15 racks to 6. And then the other match I missed must have happened during the night, US time that is, and that was the match between Machine, and that was also a second round match. Machine, who beat LS3 in the first round by 15 racks to 10, and Machine had a very comfortable win against Ice Age by 15 racks to 1. So, going back to the schedule, the matches that we have lined up, there are two tonight. Both start within an hour of one another. The match between Silvia and Larry starts in just over 5 minutes. And then we have the one lost side match between LS3 and Cheeky Chico. Now, obviously, we can't watch two matches, so we're going to be watching the one that I've got set up for the stream, and that's Silvia and Larry, and we'll keep an eye on what's happening with LS3 and Cheeky Chico. The big match over the weekend is obviously the one at the bottom, and that's between Cobra and Bedhead, and they go head to head on Sunday night, tomorrow night, at the same time at 7 PM. That will be my last match that I'll be streaming on my holiday or vacation, as you guys in the States and Canada say. I'll be back to work. I'll be off to bed as soon as that's finished and back to work on Monday. So we've got some interesting matches to look forward to. Larry's obviously the favourite against Silvia. The only concern I've got again is how long Silvia's interest will stay in the match, depending on how things go. LS3 and Cheeky Chico, that's difficult to pick a winner there. That could be quite close. And also the match between Cobra and Bedhead, I think you need to toss a coin to come to a conclusion as to who's going to come out on top in that. So welcome everybody, welcome to Chico, good luck. Welcome to Bill, good afternoon, and welcome to Dwight. That seems to be everybody that's arrived so far. Well, I don't know how you want to call this. I mean, again, it's a usual thing. The longer that Silvia can stay in it, the more of a chance she has. But she doesn't want this to drift away too soon. But she played pretty solidly in her first match, so she's got every reason to be confident enough to give Larry some problems here. So we'll see how it pans out. Oh, you never know. I mean, the cribbage games, we've seen that. Well, the very first match was given the wrong impression. The very first match I streamed, the match with Silvia and Bankster, that took over 3.5 hours, and and Steve was panicking that it was going to be far too long for the matches. Matches are going to be, 2.5 hours, or depending on how whether they go the distance. But they certainly, I never expected them to go as slow as that match with Silvia and Bankster. There was really an awful lot of tied up balls and safety going on, and maybe the main thing was the initiative to create and make things happen. That was certainly mostly devoid in that match, which is why it caused it to be too long. But the rest of them have moved along at a decent pace. There's been some quite consistent play. So I think it's an open tourney as far as who can win this, because the simple ability of potting balls and moving the cue ball gives you a good chance to pick your way through these cribbages. I think it's a wee bit more open than just to say that it's going to be, Albinario and Cobra and Bedhead and them that are going to fight it out. I mean, they're obviously strong favourites, but if you play wily enough and clever enough and get it down to the business end of the match, then the nerves start to creep in, and anything is possible. Well, Bill says 15-9. I would probably go along with that, Bill. I think that's roughly about the distance between the two of them over the piece. But as I say, if Silvia drops behind early on, I think she has a tendency to probably lose interest a bit, and then it would really fall away. Well, Steve hasn't got a hold of me today, so he's obviously busy. So I'm not expecting him to join us. I'm not in Discord, so it's just going to be a solo act today. So how are we doing? We're about the top of the hour. And right now I'm giving up the golf. I've been watching the golf solidly for the last 3 days, and I mean, it's going to be a cracking finish to this round 3, and I'm missing it all. It's been great so far this afternoon. McIlroy tied for the lead. Big pitch in from the bunker. Loads of stuff going on. And there's more opportunities for birdies on the way in as well, so I'll need to watch the highlights later on once this is all over. So anyway, the room should be up, or just about to go up. It's definitely on the top of the hour now, and both competitors are ready and waiting to get started. Well, what the hell's happened to you, Miasma? Good afternoon to Bedhead. Where have you been? Have you been okay? You haven't been ill or anything like that? I haven't seen you for a long time. Right, so here we go. I've got the cloth colour at the right setting. We're on the low camera, and remember, I will be twiddling the camera around quite a bit in this game. It's not quite as straightforward as 9-ball, and it's a bit like straight pool as far as that goes. You have to get around to see what's available, what combos are available and stuff like that, and I don't know who's who here, so we'll just wait and see what happens. So Larry's won it, and now I've said this before, Larry usually just goes straight forward and straight back off the pack, and again he's played at an angle, and that's the fatal mistake. Straight off the bat, Larry's fallen into the trap of playing at an angle. We've saw that happen on numerous occasions. Playing at an angle and bringing the cue ball back, unless you're playing it directly into the head of the pack and coming straight back, you're always prone to scratching. And Larry fell straight into it, hook, line and sinker, right off the bat. And Silvia has her opportunity to get something on the board. So an easy 1-ball, easy 14 to follow. Now, and other than that, there's a 5-10. If she's going to play the 5-10, she's got to get this cue ball back across. And she needs to hit the 15, because that cue ball was going to run more or less into the rail. And that now has maybe killed the 13 ball. What's she looking at? 12 and 3. Is that the 12? Yes, it is. Now, everything else after that is going to be a little bit tricky. I mean, the 4 ball goes past the 8, but the 11 ball can be cut in down there on the bottom rail. Now I'm assuming that she played for the 4. She's looking at the 13. Let's have a look. She can billiard that 13 in. Just a little clip in the 15. I think maybe the 13 would go in. And if she can do that, she's got a straightforward enough 2 ball. I thought she was going to play for the 4 and try and come around angles and get down into this tight corner, but that might have been asking too much. And she can obviously play the combo, I think, and well, I'm not quite sure what she played there, to be honest with you, but she's got 3 cribbages on the board, and Larry's going to have to come out behind the 8 and the 4, and the 4 still squeezes past the 8. Well, so nobody's quite decided who this guy machine is yet then. Well, it's strange. I don't know whether any of you have worked out what Silvia tried to play in her last shot at the table there in that rack, but it cost her the rack at the end of the day, and it was still a job well done for Larry to at least get a cut shot on that 13, because that was the problem. He didn't quite get the breakout, but he was good enough to get it done and punish the mistake by Silvia. And Larry's had 3 balls off the break, which is a bonus. And those 2 balls on the left-hand side of the HUD, those are the balls he must pot to make the remaining cribbages. He's trying to get right down onto this bottom rail, and he hasn't got there. So now he's going to have to try and cut that 14 across the 10. I'll tell a lie, it's not. It's the 4 ball. I thought he was trying to go on the 10. My bad as usual. But 10 and 5 are adjacent, so he's looking good here, the way these balls are set up. And this is how quickly a rack can go in cribbage if you do get some balls in the break, and also provided you can pick your way through the remaining cribbage balls, because this rack's not going to last long by the look of it. So, this for 2-0. It's a good solid start for Larry. Now Larry's still breaking with a little angle. And his first break was a failure. And this time he's got it back straight. But look at the way these balls have all gathered top right. And he's potted, what was that, the 10 ball in the break, the 5 ball, he obviously can cut into the side. The 15's hanging over the opposite side, so that's blocking that pocket. There's also a real problem up table, because I think Larry's next cribbage is going to be an issue. I mean, the 8 ball's in the middle of the table, and then he would have to play some sort of combo one way or another to get that 7. He's looking around, but you know, it really looks like, as far as I can see, I don't see a great deal of other options here. He's going to have to try and get the cue ball out to have some sort of sight in the 8, and he's managed that. That's worked out nice. Now, what else have we got here? Well, we've got the 9 and 6. Sorry, that's the 13. And that 9 is not getting into that pocket really. So I think he'll do well to finish this rack off at this visit. And he's got himself on the 9. So he's picking his way through these pretty well. And now the 13 and 2 are open. 2 ball just off the middle pocket. 13 over the corner. The 1 and the 4 are tied up, although the 1 and the 4 are a combo. And he's still going to need 1 more after this. Now he could get himself a good line in this 3, I think it's just a wee bit more angle than he would have liked. He would have probably preferred just to roll through for the 12, so he may well have to go rail and get out to here. No, he's just trying to hold it. And he hasn't done it. He would have been better to go to the rail. That was a bit too delicate to try and hold it at such a short distance. He'd have been better to go to the rail. I think he was worried about maybe hooking himself this side, but Larry's given Silvia a glimmer, only a slight glimmer of a chance in this rack. And bearing in mind that the two important cribbage balls are tied up. So Silvia's scratching her head at the moment, wondering what she should do. I mean, well, I don't think there's a lot to be gained from playing where she is. I think if she, let's have a look at this. Is that the 12 ball? I think if she pots the 12, she can come around the other side of the 3 and pot it. But she decided to play in place. I don't know why she didn't get ball in hand, and she's rethinking it. Why she didn't play the 12 and come around for the 3 into the side. Because, not the 3 into the side, the 3 into the corner. Ball in hand here roughly. Pot that 12, go to the rail, possibly the side rail, and up for the 3. Now, if it pots the 15, now that's a problem. That would have been probably better if the 15 had gone down, but the question is where it would have spotted in the lineup. Behind that 14 probably. And now she's hampered over this 15. And I mean, really hampered. This is horrible. But if you jack up and use the shaft of the cue to line up with that object ball like that, when you're shooting, if you jack up and use the W button, you can get a line with the shaft of the cue on the sort of rough hit point on that 3 ball. And that's all she could do, was just make the ball. And now there's a combo to be made. This 4 and 1, and this isn't difficult. The 14 balls wide open. And that's again just got away. Just a wee bit too heavy. Good afternoon to Hog. And she's hung it. And that's a chance come and gone, I feel. Because Larry only needs the 14 ball in the 1. So he may well just check this and come back up the left side. The only worry would be if he goes too far and blocks himself off the 11. I think he's... What was he doing here? There's no way it's going into the side, and that's quite a poor shot from Larry to end up there. He's way short, and he was worried about this 11 ball running up the side and hooking himself there. He's left it tough, but he's got it. Well, this is a start that any of you concerned about the duration of this match, this is the start that Silvia doesn't want. And it is all about taking those opportunities, no matter how few they are. Got herself awkward, got the 3 ball, and then got out of line. Just overweight shot, overhit it for position. Now this time Larry's came up dry, so Silvia's now looking around for her first ball, and well, the 1 ball does go. It's going to have to be the 2-14 combo. No, tell a lie, that's a 14 there. It's my eyes that are going again. What ball's that? The 12. And the 3 balls down here, so I mean there is that other cribbage. There's also the 13-2, but we don't know where the 2 ball will go if she's going to play that combo. Right now. She's going to have to just chip into the 9 ball here. Just drop this in as soft as she dare. Is she playing the 1? Oh no, it's a 9. I don't know. Oh, that's another bad miss by Silvia. The 10 and 8 are a combo down the rail here, but the 7's stuck in the middle. Although the 2 and the 8, I should say, but if you're actually stuck down here, that I think this is a bit far-fetched. But the 7 ball, I don't think goes because it's brushing the 9. And there's already too many unforced errors here from Silvia. Well, it looks like well, I was thinking, let's have a look. Well, I'm assuming Larry thinks he can get enough of this to pot it, and he just can. But again, he's hampered over the 13 this time, and that's a cracking shot. And now he's ended up dead in the water, I think. 2 balls running away from the pocket. Because the only other possible combo that's on, cribbage that's on, is this 13 and 2, but well, Larry's looking at the 4 and trying to hold for the 11. Oh no, he's played the 7 and trying to get over on the side of the 2 and 8, and I don't think that's done any harm. He's actually brushed that 2 ball there, but I think it's still, yeah, it's still fairly well set. So he's got away with that one there, Larry. That he didn't do a great deal of harm to the combo. Let's have a look. He's pretty close, but it was never going anywhere else but in. So Larry's on 3 cribbages. He's got an easy 13-2, and if he's got the angle in this 2, he can stun across for either the 4 or the 11, whichever one comes first, or the 9 and 6. I mean, he's odds-on favourite to be home and dry here for 4-0. Needs to get off the rail so that, well, I thought he was going to play the 11. He's going to play the cut and the 9 just to come either, again, stun up or just drop through and leave it up table. Well, it's going to probably be the side, but that'll do. And now the worry is, when is Silvia going to get herself into this match? Now see the break that Larry's doing, you know, he's still playing it with an angle, and if you don't get it right, yes, you can always scratch, but if he gets it right, it more or less comes down the centre of the table and then back up into the middle of the table, unless it gets kicked with a ball. But the odds of it getting kicked with a ball are much reduced when you're not heading towards the pack of balls that you're breaking. Although the only thing that happened there is it came up dry. You notice the 15 balls headed towards that right side pocket again. And looking at this setup for Silvia, well, we've got a 10 and an 8 combo with a 7 down the rail here, I think. And again, I'm not sure what Silvia played. I have no clue what that shot was about. To me, the combo to knock the 8 ball in and just leave the cue ball down there for the 7 up table would have been the shot. I'm assuming it goes past the 15. Yeah, you can cheat the pocket, no problem, but obviously Silvia seen something entirely different from what I was looking at. And Larry's off and running again here. So a quick reminder that this match, having started at the top of the hour, we have the only other match that's scheduled today or tonight or this afternoon, depending on where you are, is the one lost side match with LS3 and Cheeky Chico, and that's due to start in about 36 minutes time. So Larry looking at the 12 ball, he's got a wee bit more angle than he probably would have liked on that 12, so he could just go through the gap and get on the 3. He's now looking at the 11, or the 1. Where the hell's the 14? Is that out over the corner? He's looking at 1 and 14. But he's got to avoid the blocking balls, and there are blocking balls in the middle of the table if he gets the line wrong. But he's okay. Now, this hasn't finished perfect because he's now blocked on oh well, there's one other cribbage that's in the open, which is the 11. Sorry, not the 11. The 12 and 3 up table. So he's taken a 6, and he's left himself a shot in the 9. He done well to get that into play. Good afternoon or good evening to Brainfill out. No, Hogs have got Trotters, Bedhead. Well, this is very quickly developing into a bit of a nightmare for Silvia because she can't get her feet in the ground here. And Larry just needs one more cribbage, which is fairly straightforward. 7 and 8. And it's going to be 5-0. And something else went in the side. So a couple of balls have gone down, which was actually a cribbage. So straight away from the break, I think that's the second time we've seen it in the live stream where a player has broke and the 2 cribbage balls have actually matched up straight away from the break. So it doesn't rain, but it pours for Silvia. Well, there's one thing that'll keep her interested. If she can find her way to get a rack in this game, it has to happen a lot sooner than later, before she then throws in the towel. You know, if anything, it should focus your determination even more, knowing that you're in a precarious position, that you've got to get your act together. And as I've said before, particularly in this game, it should be automatic pilot for every game type, but particularly in this game, you know, when you're potting balls, you do not commit yourself to pot the ball, especially the cribbage ball, until you know where you're going next. You don't pot the cribbage ball and then start looking around. You must be sure about where you're going, and the best players will do that and know exactly where they're going before they make that decision, before they commit to the shot. And that's how you find your way out, and that's how you become a better player. It would be standard advice to anybody that before you play any sort of shot, you know where you're going. And cribbage is so important that you know where you're going. And Larry is going to be well home and dry here for 6-0. Well, already Larry can only lose this match. He can only give it away. And 2 balls have gone in a break. I think it was the 11 and the 3 that went into the bottom left-hand corner. And so the 5 and the 12 are the cribbage balls, but neither of them are on, I don't think. Yeah. There's neither of them got a pocket to go into. Certainly not a clean hit. I think he's trying to cut into this other corner with that 12 in the middle of the table. And again, that was a good effort. By no means easy, but it does give a glimmer of a chance for Silvia here, but the table's a mess. And having a look around to see if there's any possibility on anywhere, there is not a lot, it has to be said. If she takes ball in hand in the kitchen, a lot of this is all down to luck here. If you start potting the 11 ball and smacking balls around to hopefully get on the 4. But there isn't anything. I mean, there's one option, and that's the one she's playing, the 6 and getting into the gap for the 9 to get her started. And the pace is good for that. Now, there isn't really anything else on. I'm looking and I'm trying to think and I'm trying to work out to see what other possibilities are there, and there isn't any. Try as I might, I can't see an option once this 9 ball goes in. I mean, there is the 14 at the back of the bunch there, but where's the 1 ball going to go? So, just potting the 2 ball, getting it into the line. I don't see how that 13 doesn't go, does it? Aye, it does go. Again, she's clipped it into the 5. Now Larry's studying the table, looking for options, and again Larry's in a similar position here, the way these balls are messed up. From where the cue ball is now, there isn't a lot on. Well, I think he's just going to try and get a bit lucky here. If that's what he's playing, he's just trying to nudge the 4 into play. The 4, that is way too tight to ever go. I think Larry's in a position now where, the pressure's all on Silvia. Larry's got absolutely no pressure on. So even if he leaves her, with a ball in hand opportunity or playing from where it is, it's all up to Silvia to make the most of whatever slim opportunity it is. So Larry's got no sweat at the moment. And from these misses and errors by Silvia, Larry's just biding his time, waiting to pounce. Well, he's had a look at the 4 ball, and that again is very tight past the 13, but he's got it in off the jaw. And what's more, he's found a little gap onto the 11. The 13 obviously goes in the 2s in an awkward spot, but it also goes there if you can find your way around onto it, or if you can get behind it and cut it up the table or drop it into the side. There's the 1 ball, if you can pot it and somehow get across and get on the 14 into the same pocket. Well, that's nudged the 14 closer to the rail. So he's just going to have to, well, ideally, having a slight angle in this 14. Now, does he want to actually try and break anything out, or is he content to play the 13 and get on the 2? No, he's played for a nudge. Didn't get the hit. And now, I don't see anything. He's fairly straight on this 12 ball as well. He's trying to pinch it and get the draw to open the balls now. That's a bit of an ambitious shot there by Larry, so he's taking a wee bit of liberty there. And the way this is finished, the 10 just squeezes past the 5. Oh dear. And that was, if there was ever a doubt of that 10 ball comfortably going past the 5, then she'd have been better just playing the little combo onto the 5 into the side. And it was a jabby shot, wasn't it? And this is a big contrast from the first match that Silvia had with Bankster, because Silvia was getting, both players were getting loads and loads of opportunities in that match, which is, why it took so long to get done. Silvia ended up being the better of the two in a tight match, won it by 15 racks to 13. The problem that Silvia's got with Larry is that the opportunities that she's given are plenty for Larry, and Larry's capitalised on everything so far, made the most of it. But once again, Silvia has an opportunity. Now that 2 and 7 and 3 ball are crucial, because they're preventing Silvia from getting this rack on the board. And she's got to make a move at the right time. Trying to get a nudge, didn't get it. Now this is where, again, if you're going all out to cut this 12 and get a hit, if you don't get either, more importantly, pot the 12, and she's missed the 12 and committed the cardinal sin and broke them out. And so again, it's given Larry his chance. Having said that though, nothing's been left easy. It's a cut in the 2, and he's missed it. So there's the first real miss by Larry, and this now is a golden opportunity for Silvia. But she can't be waiting in enough of these to get back into the match. That's not going to happen. But above all, she's got to get herself out here. So use up your shot clock and take your time. Now, this is going awkward, but in it goes. So slightly the wrong angle on this 8 ball, so she just decided to hold it and leave the cut, and she's not been too good on any cut shots so far. But this has to go for the rack, and in it goes. And she's finally off the mark. It's taken her 40 minutes, but she's got a rack on the board. And the worst possible result from the break. The break is dry, I think. And Larry's got an 8 ball, I think, if he can get to it. No, he can't. But there's an 11 and a 4 very adjacent. And he's still got that 8 and 7. Now again, you see what Larry's doing. Exactly what I'm talking about. He's on the cribbage ball, the 4 ball, so he knows he's potting that. But what he's doing is looking to see where his next one is, and he's completely taken his eye off the ball there. Well, that's another silly little mistake there by Larry. He was doing the right thing until he missed the bloody 4 ball. Because he was playing, I think, presumably playing for the 8 and the 7 to follow. And, well, that's a big unforced error by Larry. And that's given a wee bit more encouragement for Silvia, because she's got this easy 13 and 2 to follow. Now again, before she makes the move, the next one to follow is the 10 and 5. So it's going to be the 10 down this end first, and then the 5. But where's the next cribbage coming from off this 5 ball? Now, that 6 ball squeezes past that 12. So if you drop through for the 9, you can get up table and get on to the 6. It's in a narrow gap, but it does go. That's one option. There's the 11 and the 4. So there's cribbages to be made here, but this one here has to squeeze past the 12. And again, she's hitting the ball she's wanting to avoid. That's about 2 or 3 times she's done it so far, and that's a chance gone. Yeah, the partner ball for the cribbage is always shown on the HUD in the top left. So in this case, it's the 1 ball for Larry. But that was another good opportunity there for Silvia. I mean, that ball was tight, but she played it soft to try and give it every chance to go in, but she's definitely not picking the lines, not picking the potting angle. And that was a gift of an opportunity given there by Larry, remember, when he tried to cut the 4 and missed it. And suddenly the racks ran away. $11 and 4 to follow. Well, now he can go 2 rails if he wants. I mean, he can easily just cut that, go that way, come out for the 5, but he wants an angle in the 5. So that's going to come off the rail. And that should be fine. So it's now 7 racks to 1. And the 10 ball goes in. 5 ball is locked away though. It's going nowhere fast. Up the top of the table. There's the 5 ball there. So I mean, the crazy thing to do is have a blast at it. But Larry's taking a risk there. And once again, he's taking a liberty because he's putting pressure on Silvia. With the way these balls are sitting, it's now all down to technique and ability and cue ball control to pick your way through this lot. So there's a 1 ball and a 14 ball. Now, what ball is that that's there? There's a 5 and a 10. Now this 5 ball, a little dink in the 5, and just drop up there into the gap for the 10 into the side. And that could have done with going a wee bit further, because she's also got the 7 and 8, but the 8's limited where it's going. Now what's she going up for now? That's ended up in sort of no man's land, that cue ball. See, this is Yeah, again, she played the cribbage ball, but when she played that cribbage ball there, where the cue ball was going for the next shot, I don't know, and I'm not quite sure that Silvia knew either. And that's why I've stressed that it's so important that you must not play that. You mustn't play the cribbage ball unless it's perfectly clear and the table's open and you know where you're going next. Or you end up doing what Silvia's just done there. And Larry has just got himself nailed to the 7. So once again, Silvia's going to be coming to the table with some sort of opportunity here. And Larry's just potting the 13 to get the 2 balls lined up. So now Silvia has the choice of playing in place or cue ball in hand. And the other problem is the 7 ball's now limited where it goes because it's pretty much blocked by the 15. The 8 ball's in the open. What else have we got here? Now she's looking at the 12 to come back for the 3. And again, with cue ball in hand and playing a draw shot, she's ended up hanging a 12. Well, Silvia's just turned up cold for this match. She wasn't online doing any practice, and let's just be honest, she's absolutely stone cold at the moment. And Larry's played a little nudge. He's played the nudge off his cribbage ball, and now just hoping he has a shot on his next one. And it's going to be easy, a 13-2. We've got a 9 ball. Is that the 9 ball there? 9 ball on that rail. We've got the 6 ball cutting into the side. So he could well. What's he looking at now? There's the 11-4, but again the 4 ball is just awkward. It's in a restricted area next to that 7. He could go 6 and drop down for the 9. And again, he's trying to get a nudge, and that hasn't really helped him. And what's more, he's blocked himself off from the shot in the 9. The 6. But that would have been the open opportunity for his next cribbage, dropping down for that 9. And now he's just trying to get. Well, he's trying to get into a very narrow window, somewhere over here to see this 4 ball. Where's the cue ball going? Well, that little nudge off the jaw there, more or less, has landed him perfect. And this rack is going away for Silvia. Now Larry just wants to, when he pots this 7 ball, well, you see, he's actually, again, just use the angle to get the little nudge in the 6 and make it simpler. Again, that's thinking on your feet while you're playing your shot. So now he's got a simple drop in the side and just drop down and leave the cut in the 9 for 8 racks to 1. So it's grim reading for Silvia. And the 8 ball has gone in, and Larry does have a shot in the 7. It's not easy. and he's stuck to the rail, so he's going to be just running something. He might be hitting the 5, but if he doesn't, he's going to be just running into this corner. There's not a lot he can risk doing with the cue ball here other than just let it roll. He's missed the 5, but he's also missed the 7. And, well, Silvia comes to the table. The cue ball's in an ugly spot. I think she may well take cue ball in hand here. But even with that, it's awkward, I think, to get on partner balls here. What ball's that? The 12. Well, there's the opportunity there with the 12 and a 3. That's one opportunity. The other one is the 1 and the 14, which just squeezes past. And now she's struggled with these getting past the other balls, but really should have no problem with that one. Now again, looking at this 9 ball, that 6 ball is not easy to get on. I'd be taking a little breather here and not committing myself to anything. But this is it's got to avoid traffic. Well, it's not avoided the traffic, but the kiss and the 12, the 10 and the 13's worked out nice. That was a lucky little roll there for Silvia. Now the 7 and the 8 to follow. And once again, that 12 ball down the rail and the 3 ball down here are easy to get to. What ball's that? Let's see, is that the 15? Yes, it is. And up table, we have the 13 and the 2 side by side. But the problem there is potting the 13 and still been on the 2. This is going to be tricky. And she's letting it run. And how's the pace and how's the line in this cue ball? That's pretty good. Well done to get there. And it's another rack on the board for Silvia. And another sigh of relief. And needs things to happen for her though. Now I think a ball has gone. Right, good luck, Chico. So, what was it? The 2 ball that's gone and she's hooked. See, you really need, if you're going to try and get back in the match, you really need things to start rolling for you, and there's no sign of that happening for Silvia. So, she's conceded the table to Larry. Larry's looking at the 8 ball. So presumably he's looking at just rolling through here. And I don't see the 7 going by the 9, so just going to roll into the little gap or just beyond it for it into the side. That'll do it. We've got the 11 ball there and the 4 ball to be cut there, so that's always an option. There's the 9 ball If you were potting the 9 ball to this pocket, you're dropping through and coming up to leave the cut in the 6 down the rail there. Well, that's not exactly where Larry wanted to be, but it's not a problem. Well, the problem now is that 15 ball's been bumped to the rail, and Larry's having to try and find the gap off this 14, and a nice nudge in the 1 would do him handy. Well, he's going to have to hit this with a bit of pace just to get that 1 ball moving. Oh, and he's also had the nudge on the 12 and the 2, and that's came in handy. Although he probably, when you look at what's been left after it, I don't think it really helps him a great deal. So the only shot he does have is a dodgy 3 ball and the 12 ball. This is no gimme. Oh, now that might break those 2 balls. So again, Silvia has a good opportunity here, and she really got to get the focus on, because these balls are all available. Well, in one way or another. The problem is the issue in the side rail, and the fact that she's trailing 3-0 in cribbages in this rack, she's going to need that 6 ball, and that 6 ball is really nailed to the rail. It's absolutely solid. Well, I think she can either come back. Well, she's had a lash trying to create something out of nothing there. Should have been far better taking what was there and then playing a safety. I mean, there was the 2 cribbages remaining. The 12 and 3 were wide open. She could have potted that ball and drawn back for the 12 and 3. So now it's basically all down to this 5 ball. If Larry can cut it in, Silvia's just sold herself down the river with that effort. Should have taken what was there and got over ambitious, and it's cost her. It's now 9-2 to Larry. I think that one's dry. So it's just gone the top of the hour. LS3 has arrived, and LS3 and Cheeky Chico will be off and running in their race to 13 on the 1 loss side, and we'll be heading off to that match soon enough. I think all too soon, as far as this match goes, I think. But it is a long haul back for Silvia, but it is winner breaks. You know, she can get herself back into this, but it really got to knuckle down. And that was a really poorly executed shot there from Silvia. She's not got the touch. You know, and now it's a scratch, and it's all gone badly wrong here. You know, that was just a little gentle draw. One of those little, well, you could either do the little gentle draw or the more firmer stun draw, and it gives you more control of where the cue ball's going. But Silvia did neither, and she left herself completely stone dead pretty much on that 8 ball, having to blast it to make a cut. Now, hang on a minute, what's Silvia asking Larry to wait for? Or did she type that a while ago? I don't know. I don't know whether Larry's reading the chat, but you can't see that on your screen if you're watching the live stream, but Silvia's typed wait, but Larry's carrying on here. I don't think Larry's probably paying a lot more attention to what's going on the table rather than what's going on in the chat. Well, she hasn't said anything else. And Larry hasn't responded, so I don't know whether he's noticed anything. Well, clearly he hasn't noticed anything because he's not asked, why has he been asked to wait? So he's just carrying on at the moment. So, well, he's came right down the table here onto the 12, but the 3 ball isn't going anywhere. He's got the shot and the 1, he's going to have to go 2 rails. No, he's trying to drop on the short side. This could be dangerous. He's got away with it. So, just drop him through for the 9 to get to double figures. And Larry again brings the cue ball down the table. Ball in the break. What ball went? The 14 is gone. Sorry, the 1 has gone, but the 14 is the cribbage ball. And this time Larry's cut it in. Now, Silvia may well end up taking ball in hand, because if she takes ball in hand, she's got the 12 and the 3 as a cribbage to start her off. Now, she's looking around, but that's the one to start her off. The 12 and 3. Now the trouble starts looking for the next one, because this isn't pretty. Well, that's at least nudged the 9 ball into play, and she can drop the 9 ball in, just drop into the gap for the 6 into the side, or up the table. She's actually overcooked it slightly, but that might not be bad either, because the only thing is she's stuck to the rail. Again, she's just running into balls to hopefully she gets a lucky roll. And I think that might be the end of her luck. Well, the 10 ball's hidden away. Well, that 7 and 14 ball are a combo, but Larry's tried to pot the 8 and just brush the 7 into play, but he hasn't hit it thick enough. So now it's messy. And once again, with ball in hand, Silvia's got the 7 and 8 and a gap to get to the 7. She's got the 2 and the 13 straight away. Now the angle that she's got in the 13 is not really what she wanted. I think she would much rather have been coming into play rather than going near other balls. But these other balls have to be created as well. Now that again is another poor one. Trying to be delicate there just to hold for the 7, but not focused in the pot. Well, good evening to Slim. Oh, thanks for that. Thanks for that update, Slim. Slim, our man on the ground for VP4 TV. Well, Silvia. Not a lot on. You know something? I've just been thinking something here. I think that I think there could be a possible better safety option rule in cribbage. Seeing as Steve was talking about on the live stream the other day there, Steve was talking about how to settle a cribbage rack when it wasn't clear on how to settle a 4-4 tie in a cribbage rack. So Steve said it was him that decided that the 15 ball should be respotted. But I've just had another idea about safety in cribbage. I think now see what you guys think about what I'm talking about here. I think that if you don't have a cribbage on, right, but you pot an object ball, this actually I think would be a good thing for the game. Now you can tell me I'm talking a load of crap, or you could say, it's actually not a bad idea. I think strategy-wise, let's say you pot a ball, right? Now at the moment, if you pot a ball on the break, and you don't have visibility on the cribbage ball, then you've got to look for some sort of safety, but it's not, let's be honest, it's not really safe half the time when the incoming player then has a choice of playing in place or taking cue ball in hand. So I'm thinking that it would be a good idea if the rules were adjusted slightly, whereby if you potted a cribbage ball at any time in the game, not just necessarily the break, but if you potted a ball, but you didn't have the cribbage ball, I think if you played off another ball, whether it be the cribbage ball or not, I think if you can get the cue ball back into the kitchen behind this line, then the incoming player doesn't have the opportunity of ball in hand. I think if you can get a shot whereby you can at least get the cue ball back into the kitchen, it then leaves the player having to play from there rather than having cue ball in hand. I think that, to me, is a wee bit fairer, tactical wise, to the player who unfortunately can't make the cribbage. Or it could be just from the break. You know, you could amend it either way, but I think that might be one little strategy or one little rule that might not make it quite as sometimes unfair that the player has the option of ball in hand in the kitchen or playing in place. I don't know what you think. I hope you understand what I'm talking about. Maybe you don't. Maybe I didn't make it clear. I'll try and explain that to Steve the next time I get a hold of him on the live stream, see what he thinks. Well, that's the third rack on the board. LS3's tied it up 1 rack all. And Silvia has broke off. A ball has gone in. The 5 ball has gone. Now, see, in this situation here, she's got a thin cut in the 10, but let's say she couldn't pot the 10. I reckon if she played any other ball and called a safety and got it behind the kitchen line, I think that would be a better rule in that circumstance. That's what I'm talking about. If you can get the cue ball somewhere in the kitchen, it then forces the player having to play from there. If you don't get it in the kitchen, then the player has the choice. But I think the kitchen line there has to be utilised as part of this game. And I think that would be maybe one change in the rules slightly that could affect the game and be slightly fairer. It gives the player who can't make the cribbage a target to try and get the cue ball for a sort of partial safety. But I'm going to get Steve's opinion on it and see what he thinks. But half the time, Steve will come back and say to me, he doesn't know what I'm talking about. But I'll tell him long enough and often enough so he understands what I'm talking about. I've been giving it a wee bit of thought there watching this match, and I think that would be. I don't know how difficult that would be to write into VP4 cribbage, but I think it's worth considering. I seriously do. I think it's worth as a consideration. Because Steve's saying that was it the BCA rules he was talking about, that there are rules for cribbage, but the rules were not clear on what happens when it's a tied ball game, when it's 4 cribbages all. So in that respect, I think the cribbage rules are they're a bit vague to say the least. If they didn't have a decision on how you decide when a rack is drawn at 4 racks all. If he's saying that he had to put in the 15 ball been respotted, then to me, then you can adapt the rules in other ways. And the one that I'm talking about would be, to me, a good addition. Well, that's why I'm giving it 2 choices, Bedhead. You know, you could be generous and say that if you can't make a cribbage at any time, then as long as you can play off a ball and get that cue ball into the kitchen, then the incoming player has to play from the kitchen. Or, as you say, as you've just said, after the break, if that's the only time you can play that shot and force the player to play from the kitchen, at least gives you some half a chance of playing a safety. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Cobra, but I'm talking about if my rule was implemented, if you can get that cue ball back into the kitchen off the break, if you play a break, let's go down the bedhead route here, right? the game is perfect. But I think that if we went the bedhead way, if you break off and you pot a ball, but you cannot make the cribbage, if you can play off another ball and get the cue ball into the kitchen, then the incoming player is forced to play from the kitchen. Now, obviously, if you scratch, then the player's playing from the kitchen anyway. So that's immaterial. Well, I'll get further feedback on it. Well, I was going to say that, Cobra. That's going to be the big worry in this match between you and Bedhead on tomorrow night as to whether you'll be able to stay the distance. So Larry is back in. 1 ball for the first cribbage. 13 and 2 are simple enough up the top of the table in either corner pocket. I don't know whether that was so wise a shot that Larry was running into the 13 there. I don't think he had any need to do that. That could have went funny. He could have scratched. Once he pots this 13, I don't really know what he tried there. I don't know whether he tried to get the top of the 6 to play the 6 and come back and get the 9, or to get on this 10 off the 5. That looks like maybe what he played. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But he could well have been played into a spot there to give him the choice, which again is not a daft move. So now he's opened up the 6 ball. 9 ball still in the right side rail. Shouldn't have a problem getting to it though. Well, he's just got there. And 4 and 11. Pop the 4 in, just come up for the 11 into the side. And then he's got to do a nudge here off this 7 ball. I'll tell a lie, he didn't, because that was his cribbage. That was his cribbage. Again, I'm so busy looking at cribbages and forgetting about what cribbages Larry was on. He was on his 5th one. And it's 11-4. So it might not be that far away before we join the LS3 Cheeky Chico match. We'll jump straight in there as soon as this one's over. And remember, they're playing a race to 13 on the 1 loss side. race to 15 on the winner's side. And Larry's break has come up dry. And Silvia's got an easy 6 and 9 to get her started. Now, what's that set up here? So we've got the 13 and 11. The 11 is dead set. And the 4 ball could obviously go into the same pocket, but I don't think. I think she's just going to nudge the 4 in and just leave the little combo. That looks simple enough. And also, you've got the 7 and 8 ball sitting there, so. Oh, this 13 needs to get out of the way. Well, she's not playing the 7 because it was an awkward angle to hold good for the 8. So went up table, got rid of the 12, gets rid of the 3. Now she's sitting good on the 7. Now this is just a natural shot. You just pot the 7 with the right pace to come back up the table for the 8. Absolutely no problem with that shot. But now it's going to be the 14 and 1. I think I would have taken the 7 and the 8 there because they're right next to one another and it wasn't difficult to pot the 7, come off the short rail and back up for the 8 and then come down here. But she only needs the 10 and the 5 for another rack. But it may well be all too late. So LS3's built up a 3-1 lead against Chico, according to Slim. And Silvia has came up dry as well. Now, what is there on here for Larry? There's the 2 ball. The 2 ball's down table, so he's got a start. He's got a 13 and 2. He doesn't want to be right over this 7 ball though. Yeah, that was really awkward. Now this table's ugly. This is not very inviting to any incoming player. She's just trying to get the bottom side. This is going to hook. Oh dear. Well, now, with Larry having that option of ball in hand, he might be just as well playing the 7 ball from where it is and going up the table to leave the shot in the 8. I think, I mean, if you take ball in hand, you can still get on the 7, but the danger is you could end up running the cue ball too far and hooking yourself. I think you'd be far better playing that 7 from there. And Larry, I think, has got the... Oh dear. Oh dear. That wasn't in my plan. My plan was to get up here And Larry's made a complete hash of that one. I think he was planning to hit that set of balls but brush off them rather than lock onto them. So this rack is a complete mess. Well, good luck with the ball in hand option here, Silvia, because I don't see a lot on. There ain't much on there at all. I mean, there's is that the 12 ball? Well, there's one cribbage to be had out of this lot. Well, I think you've just got to get a bit of running in this cue ball and try and hit something and just get a lucky roll. Let's have a look. Now, the 7 ball, it goes. The problem is the angle in the 8 is absolutely no good. The 5 doesn't go past the 9. The 10's cuttable up the table, but no chance of potting a 5. No, absolutely nothing doing whatsoever here. The worry for Silvia is putting a ball into play. If Larry takes ball in hand, you know, the 6 ball is not going anywhere. So even though Larry can pot that, well, he's potted the 8 ball. He's left himself a really dicey thin cut in the 7. That was tough. So this time Silvia has ball in hand. Now, this should be simple enough to drop the 7 in and just spin across. Is she taking... What's she doing? I don't know. Why she not putting the cue ball down the rail? Well, she's putting the cue ball down the rail now, I think. She's going to take the 8 first. Well, she can consider herself lucky that she can see the 7. But using the 4 to play the combo. Now, something else went in as well there, I think. So the 11 went in and the 4's over the pocket. That's a bonus. And now we've got the 2 and the 13 in the open. We've got the 1 and the 14 in the open. And suddenly this rack is opened up. And there's a nice little angle in the 1. Just to drop that in with enough pace to get the cue ball right out into the table. Even if you're further up the table, don't believe in it short. Oh dear. And don't be missing the 1 ball. And these misses from Silvia, you cannot expect to get away with them. She's got a 3-0 lead as far as cribbages go, but that's, well, Larry's again trying to hold. I mean, the cue ball had to be on that line to get the 13 into the side because it was obviously blocked in both top pockets. So in doing that to get on the 13, he's forgotten about the 2, and Silvia lives again. And she's got a 14-1 to make this match score look a wee bit more presentable. Now, again, you never know if, I mean, it's 11-6 if you can get a break with a couple of ball. Where's the cue ball going? Oh dear. Well, I can't even be blamed for cussing Silvia there because I never got the words out. She'd already scratched before I got there. But if she could have had a couple of balls in the break there and get some cribbages and managed to win that rack quickly and get into the next one, well, she's not exactly within touching distance, but it could have given her a wee bit more momentum. But that's been blown straight out the water. Larry with an easy combo to start off with, an easy cribbage, sorry, and well, he has to run as far down the table as he can to open up the angle in the one. And now if he can get into the table here somewhere, he's on the 4 and he's got the 11. I don't know how hard he wants to hit this, but I wouldn't be hitting this too hard. You know, he's actually just overcooked that slightly. If he'd finished a bit there, he was fine. He's now slightly awkward in his choice of his next ball. He's got the 6, which is dodgy because he's having to try and hold for the 9, and he's got the 9 where if he plays it, he's going to have to come onto the rail and up for the 6, and that's not easy to do. So this is finishing probably about the most awkward spot. Now, it looks like 2 rails and just get up here, but now he's committed to the 6. Yeah, that was not easy, and that was just the cue ball rolled about 3 inches the wrong direction there when he played his last shot. Not that shot, but the one previous, and he would have been sitting pretty. But as it is, he went awkward and he was in that sort of no man's land zone that we talk about, and Silvia's got a chance. And she's went for the nudge. Now, what ball's that over the side? That's the 15, so that's no good. We've got the 4 and the 11. Now, what's to follow the 4 and the 11? Because the 10 and the 5 will go. The 10 goes in there. And that's perfect. That's fine. Just drop the 10 in, dead weight. Dead weight in the 10 and get rid of the 5. Oh, again, that was overcut. And again, it was only the pace that took it in, and she's dicing with death here. And that's not done her any harm. Now just let the cue ball come out, just play the pot, don't overhit it, and you're out for the 13. But ideally she wants to go on that 2 first. What's she on? That's her on 4 cribbages. Now there's the problem. Now, if she's taking this 13, got to stay in the middle of the table, and that'll do it. So Larry made the mistake. Silvia's capitalised this time, but all too few of them has she capitalised on, or she could have been well in this match. But she's now trailing before, so again we're looking for a couple of balls in the break. The 4 ball I think is gone, the 6 ball has gone. The cue ball has not gone nice, but there is a shot on the 9 the cut up table in the top right. The 13 is available, but obviously not at the moment. She has to make the cribbage ball first on that 9 ball, and then she has to hope she can still see the 13. Well, the first part's been done, and the second part has been done as well. That was well played. Or is that? No, it's the 11 ball. I beg your pardon. I thought it was the 13 she was having to play next. It's the bloody 11. Well, S3's building up a good lead there in that match for the look of it. In the meantime, Larry has the choice of playing in place from where he is at the moment or ball in hand in the kitchen. So he's got an easy 8 ball, easy 7 to follow. I think we've got the 12 and 3 quite close to one another as well, these two. But you've got to work the cue ball quite nice to get one of them away. The obvious one to get away first would be the 3. Now he's just trying to get onto that 3. Now there is the 11 and 4 as a bailout cribbage. Now again, he's just slightly the wrong angle in the 4. He would have liked to have been there. If he was there in the 4, he was fine to drop through for the 3 and get rid of that. He's trying to now draw across, and he doesn't want to be stuck to the rail like that. But I think, what's he got up table? Is that the 14 in the rail? What ball was that he potted? I've totally lost the plot now. Oh, it's the 13, so that's handy. And now he's got the 14, which doesn't go past the 10, I don't think. That's very tight. But the 5 is up there and the 10 does go. So that's going to open up the 14. And it'll take Larry on to his 4th cribbage. Oh, good evening to Machine, whoever you are. We're all trying to guess who you are. So just this 1 ball will give Larry another rack. The lead goes back to 5, and Larry's just 3 away from round 3. And he's had certainly 1 ball in the break. What one went? The 5 has gone, and he's going to have to bank the 10. That's sweet as a nut, that one. Now where's he landed? Well, he's gone just a wee bit too far for the comfortable cut in the 13, but he can play the 2 then, the 13, not an issue with that. What ball's that? That's a 12. You've got the 14 in the open, the 1 over the side, so he's got choices here to pick his way through this rack. Do you think Chico needs? Do you think Chico needs the Jinx King to enter the room? Is that what you think, Slim? Well, it won't be long before I'm there. Now, we've got a simple 11 and 4 ball, and then it gets a bit tricky for the final cribbage here. Because you've obviously got the 12 and 3, the 3's a bit awkward, and you've got the 8, and then the 7's a bit awkward. You've got the 9 and the 6 is a bit awkward, so there's work to do in and around this setup here, and how you make this final cribbage. Now, by the look of it, Larry is looking to just drop in behind the 7 and take it up table. That would be the simplest shot. Now, once again, Larry, I mean, he's overcooked that again by a huge amount. I mean, he's got into the cue ball way too much. He just needed to drop through to take it up table. Or he could have went around and played it in the short side, which would have been trickier. And he's let Silvia off the hook here, big time. And the scoreboard is looking a lot more healthy than it was early on. And this is a gift of a chance for Silvia here. And she's going to have to get right out on this rack here. She's 4-0 down. And they are all sitting there. She's going to have to pot that 15 twice. So now she's decided on ball in hand. I'm just going to pot the 9 and kill the cue ball here for that 6. In fact, what I'd probably do is roll the 9 in, roll that 6 in, and just roll through for the 8 into the side. Aye, just a little dink in the 8 into the side and hold for the 7. But I think the other option would be to actually just come back and get rid of that 12 ball and go up for the 3. The only worry I've got is getting good on that 8 ball. I would have still taken the 8 into the side and then took the 12 and the 3. I don't like the idea of leaving the 8 where it is. It means that Silvia's got to play a good shot to get onto that 8 ball, and this might backfire on her. I mean, the angle is there, but she's not really been finding the spot, and I think she's got extremely lucky to end up there. I think she should have took the 8 ball when she was on it and would have saved her the grief. Now remember, she's still got to pot this 15 ball and then hold for the 15 into whatever pocket she decides once it's respotted. And that is not where you want to be playing the 15 ball, and this is going to be sore if she can't get this cut. And she's done it again. Well, I think that my idea was a better idea, because you had to then get that cue ball played off the rail to get good on the 8, whereas my idea was simpler. Pot the 8 into the side, hold for that 12 along the top rail as we looked, then get rid of the 3 down table, and I think that would have been a better idea. And it's again backfired on Silvia, and Larry pinches the rack, a rack that Silvia should have won. And those opportunities, if you're going to be in contention in this tournament, you cannot be wasting wide open opportunities like that when it basically comes down to cue ball control at the end of the day. And finishing dead square in the 15 is a no-no. And leaving yourself dicey cuts like that to rescue the situation when the rat was staring you in the face. It's a sore one to take, but that's what happens if you cannot keep that cue ball under tight control. So Larry's now 2 away. And Silvia now has a choice. Now, if she's going to play from here again, committing herself to this 8 ball, it's a little dink and a brush onto the 15 to hold for the 7, and that's fine. 1 and 4's tied up, so that kills any options with the 11. Although, having a quick look, that 4 ball goes up the table. So, I've got the hiccups now. This 11 ball getting cut along the rail, the 4 ball is there and it will go. Now again, these are straightforward enough pots that Silvia's missing. Well, believe me, she did not play as bad as this in her first match against Bankster. There was a lot of messing about in that match, but she's half the player she was in that match. Well, good evening to Mal. So Larry has well, hooked himself on the 6, and Silvia lives again. Now remember, well, that cue ball's ran into the 11, so the 11's now more awkward than what it was. But with cue ball in hand, I'm looking to see what's the easiest start here for Silvia. I mean, she's got everything's awkward here the way this table's lying. You know, the 12 doesn't go past the 14, but the 3's wide open. The 6 goes. Now let's have a look. If you go this side with the cue ball and pot the 6 and run into the 15, you're on the 9. I mean, well, the 10 ball's tight, but it does go. Oh, well. Well, my idea, I think, was still better. I think if she'd got right over here. Now, that 9 ball I don't think's moved. Had she got right over here with the cue ball and potted the 6, she'd have run into the 15 and held for the 9. And she went her own way, and it's all backfired. Now, did I get that wrong there? Was that Larry's at the table? Because how come Silvia's back at the table? I was looking at the chat and I've completely missed what was happening there. Oh, Silvia's back at the table, that's all I know. she's went for a breakout there, which hasn't worked. Well, let's be honest, that 9 ball will go, but cuts like this have been, this is difficult enough as it is, but trying to squeeze it past a tight 15 ball, and she's had a blast. And I think she can wave bye-bye to this rack. So, Larry pots the 13, gets rid of the 2. He needs to get rid of that 9 ball, but the 6 ball's awkward as well. Let's have a look where he's got the cue ball. Right. Now let's see where that 6 ball goes now. He's got the pot on the 9. Now whether he wants to just dig in, well, he's looking at playing, I thought he was playing the combo there, but once he's played this 4 ball to make the cribbage, I think he wants to come back a bit, but he's going forward. I've got no idea what he's doing. I'm totally befuddled with what Larry's doing here. To me, the shot would have been to get rid of the 9 and come round for the 6. And again, this is a no man's land shot. And this is tricky as well because he doesn't want to miss the 14 and not hit this hard enough because he'll block himself in the 9. And this is difficult enough without having to consider where the cue ball's ending up. So he's just trying to drop around the corner and hold in that line. Now, yeah, he's having to bend around it to make the angle. Yeah, he's got it. Well, now he's sitting pretty. This is all over this rack. Simple enough, 10 ball with a 5 to follow. And sorry, it wasn't the 10 ball. It was the 14 ball, then the 1 to follow. Oh dear, what's Larry done here? Well, it's got in. I didn't think it had the legs. I thought it was running offline there. And now he's got the 5 and 10. So Larry now on the hill. Well, the score still looks a bit more respectable than what it did early on because I had fears that Silvia was never going to get off the mark. And Larry, oh, he's had a huge bonus here. He's got to make a cribbage. No, he hasn't. He's potted 4 balls and not made a cribbage with any of them, but he's got to have a ball on here to make a cribbage. Is that 6 ball not cut? Yeah, the 6 ball cuts. 6 ball into the side. He thinks he can get to the 4, which is a bonus, which he can. And so, with this table set the way it is, this match is over. He's got the 3 into the side for his next cribbage. Of course, he has to pot all of those remaining cribbage balls in the top left-hand corner of the screen before he does anything else. So he has to get rid of them. So he's on the 6 ball. He's on the 13 ball. So this is the last one that has to go, and this match is over. This will take him to 4 cribbages, and then he's got his pick of what he wants to do. It could be the 7 and get up for the 8. It could be the 14 for the 1. Well, he's the wrong side of the 7. So he's going to have to let the cue ball run. I mean, he could cut the 1 and come across for the 14. He's given that consideration, and he could play the 5 to come across for the 10. The one good thing is the 7's a blocker for any chance of the cue ball scratching. So this for the match. And, well, there was mistakes from both players, but there was far too many from Silvia in the end. And Larry runs out by 15 racks to 7. And he's through to round 3. So immediately we'll go, if I can get the buttons to work, we'll go to the bracket. I don't know how quick that's updating, just to see who Larry's got next. Well, Larry's now lying in wait for the winner of the match between Albinario and One Pocket Slim. So, right, we'll just go straight down. Where the hell's the match? There it is. So now we are in the match with LS3, the one lost side match, and LS3 is looks as if she's about to go into an 8 racks to 3 lead. So this is now a race to 13. I think that was dry. No, it wasn't. The 3 ball, I think, was a last minute ball that just dropped in. And the handy thing is the 12 ball's right down the bottom of the table here to the left of the cue ball. So she's immediately off and running here. But already looking at what the next ball is going to be. So, well, I don't think she's got much choice now. It's a thin cut and the one into the side. But, you know, the 14 does go into both corner pockets up and down the table. But what's she playing now? Deciding to play the 2 for the 13. That works better than my idea. I never noticed that one. Now, 14, simple one into the side. Now again, this is a bit similar to what Silvia had earlier on in the other match. LS3 can pot the 1, but she can come back for the 8. And now she's on the 10. She can also drop through for the 5. So there's good options here to see this through. And this route that LS3 found again is a better idea, because once that 5 goes, she can still play the 8 and play the 7. And it'll be a 9-3 lead. Well, LS3 is looking a lot more sure-footed than Silvia was. You have to say that. She's looking far more confident and sure of what she's doing. But this one's definitely dry. Chico's got a lot of work to do. He needs something. He needs a few favours, I think. But he's running out of racks. Now, can Chico construct enough here from what's here? Because it looks fairly ugly up table. I mean, he's got this 13, but he's looking around for where his next cribbage is going to be. I keep saying combo, I don't know why. We've got the 6. But again, it's just, he's got to play a good shot to come out to see this 9. But he's taking the 11. And I don't know that that was a wise move, because again, in fact, to be honest, I don't know whether either were a wise move, but I think he had a better chance of getting out onto the 9. He's played the bank in the 4 as a recovery. That's a good shot. Now, what else have we got? Well, again, looking at the 6, he can cut the 6 and come back into the gap and then play the 9. He's looking at the 14 into the side and holding for the 1. Now, again, 6 ball is a blocking ball one way or another. And now, what's he doing? Is he looking to see if he can play this combo with the 5 and the 12 onto the rail to knock the 6 in? That's a good shot. It was well lined up. And now he's comfortable on the 9. So he's picked his way through this rack very well. I mean, you know, he's if he can get into a rhythm with winner breaks and he gets the roll of the ball in the break, he can work his way back into this. Still trailing by 5. But you need balls to be going into holes, and that's exactly what he doesn't want. He's come up dry. Now, is that what ball's that? The 11? What one's that? The 13 it is. And the 2 balls blocked by the 8. So that's no good. There's 11 ball into the side, but then you've got to play a good shot and find a gap to see the 4. Again, this is not all that inviting for your prospects. What ball's this? That was the 11. I think you end up scratching your head half the time with some of the layouts in this table in cribbage. I mean, yeah, I mean this is tricky because, you know, there's the 4 ball looks well open, but the problem's all the crap that's lying around, and you're the wrong angle in the 11. And now he has to hope he just finds a gap and doesn't block himself off, and that will do it. He's got into a spot. And now the hard work starts. And trying to get on a little bit of a roll here in this rack. Now, 2 ball needs to go clean, and the cue ball back up into the table and across to the left slightly. Oh, it wiped its feet. Now, looks like killing the cue ball for the cut in the 12. And could come back across to the 5. And then depending on the angle, we'll decide whether it's going to be easy to go on the 10. It doesn't want to go to the rail. It should be okay. Just go through and drop the 5 in and come back out for a long 10 ball. Don't try and be too elaborate with the cue ball. So this will take LS3 onto the fourth cribbage. Six into the side, or 14 into the side, and other balls all available. So LS3 is going to be in double figures, and just 3 racks away from surviving to the next round in the one loss side. So once again, a reminder to our viewers that the bottom match in the schedule there, the match between Cobra and Bedhead, is our only remaining scheduled match over the weekend. And that match will go ahead tomorrow night at 7 PM. I hope you can join us. And then I'm back to work on Monday morning. We've still got this snooker challenge match between Semi-Pro and MC Clarkey going into their fourth session. Semi-Pro has a 14-10 lead, but Semi-Pro has got other business at hand at the moment, so we don't know when that will be, but it'll be soon enough. And meanwhile, back to the match. LS3 into the next rack, and 9 ball freely available over the top left. I don't know what's going to be next though. Let's see what we have. Well, that's a 10 ball. 8 ball into the side, just drop through and out for the 7. Well, there's a tricky little shot for a 4 and an 11 ball, because again, they're just blocking balls as well. I mean, obviously you don't have to get directly onto the ball. You could play some sort of combo or some sort of billiard, but this has to be thought through how you deal with this situation here. Now, this is a little tricky. Just holding the pace to hold the gap, and oh, that's perfect. Using the spin to use the 5 ball as a stopper for the 11, and that works. So LS3 on her fourth cribbage, and just bringing the cue ball into the middle of the table, up high enough to see the 14. That will do. Now, dead straight in the 14, but probably just pinching a bit to maybe stun across for the 5, or depending how it finishes, possibly the 10 into the side first. No, she's just gently rolling it in to get in the short side of the 5. So once again, just come back off the 5 slightly, or you could roll through to play it long, whatever you want to make you feel as comfortable as possible. But she's just running up table, so running up far enough to get on this 2. Oh, tell a lie, that was a cribbage ball. Forgotten again. Well, what it does mean is LS3's 2 away. And the 14 ball, I think, went on the break there. And the 1 ball is accessible, shall we say. I don't know how accessible. It might have to be the combo. I don't think she can get right through to the cut angle in that one. It looks too tight. That takes care of that issue. We've got the 3 and the 12 handy, so again, no problem there. We've got the 10 and the 5 available. And then the work and the thought has to kick in. We've got a 7 ball and back up the table for the 8. Now this angle on the 10 is the wrong side, but the angle that she's now left is handy just to drop this in and come back out into the table. But ideally, you really want to come over far enough where you're not getting into these balls as much as you'd want to maybe try and open them, and she's not hit it enough to get that shot. She's left it way short. That needed to run another 4 or 5 inches to about there. Still got a cut, but now you're relying on getting a roll, and that ain't it. Other than the fact she didn't scratch, and she's now completely corner hooked, I think, anyway. And the 15 ball is doing its damn. In fact, she wasn't corner hooked. She could actually get to that 8 ball. Well, that's a good shot. That deserves a replay. That is a well thought out and well judged shot. That little combo there. Excellent play. And now an easy 6 ball and an easy 9 to get LS3 1 away. And, well, we haven't seen this match from the start, but she's been pretty damn impressive to me from what I've seen. Well, again, certainly at least 1 ball is gone. The 12 ball's about to go. And the 3 ball is right on the spot. As is the 11 ball. Now, I don't know whether she can pinch a little bit here, because she's got to get out for the 11 ball. Let's have a look. Yes, she's got a perfect little angle just to stun out. Well, she just babied it in, so she's going to roll it through. But where's the next cribbage coming after that? Well, there is an 8 ball, and then there's a thin cut in the 7. And that's a good shot, because a little dink in the 7 and don't overhit it. Just got to get to their maximum in that line, and that's perfect. And then there's a 13 and 2 available. Now, that wasn't so clever. But she's got 3 cribbages on the board in the rack that she needs to go through to the next round. So again, she's given this some serious thought. And, well, it's at least given her a chance of the combo on the 1-9. And again, excellent, well played. And now the cue ball, of course, running loose, and I think the 15 ball's in the way. She's trying to pot this 14 and drop down to the bottom rail as we look for the 1 ball. She's got to try and avoid the 15, which she's done, and she's got the cut in the 1, and she is home and dry. And this is an excellent performance from LS3. She's barely put a foot wrong in what I've seen in this match. and that was very impressive and a really strong performance, and a 13 racks to 4 win for LS3 will let her march on and battle her way through that one loss side. Let's have a look at the bracket, and we'll see that LS3 is now through, but she's going to have a bit of a wait until somebody comes over from that winner's side. But the more important matter in hand is that if we look, we've got second round matches between Albinario and One Pocket Slim, the winner of which will go through and play Larry. We've got Tommy, the winner in the match, the first round match between Tommy and Popman, and he's waiting on the winner of the match tomorrow night between Cobra and Bedhead. Their first round match, remember, is 7 PM British Summer Time, 2 PM Eastern, 11 AM Pacific. And then, of course, Machine went through in that match against Ice Age, whatever time of night that was played at. So he's waiting on the winner of the Tommy Cobra match. Now, the deadline dates are like August the 7th for round 3 matches. So there's plenty of time for that. So that is the matches that are left on the schedule. Just the one, and that's tomorrow night. And well, yes, LS3's definitely got to be considered a danger should you bump into her in the one-loss side. It's whether or not she can keep that consistency up. But that was very well played, LS3, if you're listening. Very impressed with what I saw. And good luck in the rest of the tournament. So now I'm off to find out how the golf finished off in round 3. And I'll bid you good night and thank you all for watching. So stay safe, take care, and if you can't see the match tomorrow night, get on YouTube. There is a playlist for this tournament. There are 4 matches on it. This will be the 5th one to be added to it, as will the one tomorrow night as well. So I'll see you tomorrow night if you want to join us, and I'll bid you good night and thanks all for watching.
Good night, ladies.
Put 'em up. Put 'em up.